Welcome to the news. Welcome to the news. Welcome to the news. This is the sound of a little small sewing machine with wings. What is that? It's like a little bit of a sewing machine with wings. Yeah, it's like a sewing machine, but it's got little wings and little legs, and it jumps kind of like a frog at the same time. It's quite interesting. It's intriguing. What is this whimsical creature? It's a sewing machine with wings, and it exists within the whimsical realm of business, music, and spiritual finance. In the realm of trying to sew our mindsets. In this instance, why we're trying to bring about this little flying type of insect frog with wings, more or less, that is a sewing machine at the same time, is to be able to try to conceptualize the spiritual finance tool of this sewing machine, to be able to try to start to sew some business music together. Yeah. How we want to try to configure it is to try to be able to take different frequencies and different vibrations to be able to send them into the direction of this whimsical little creature, of this flying little sewing machine that is able to try to be in a right place at the right time, to be able to try to position itself in a whimsical, ethereal fashion so that it aligns with a certain element of timing and presence and grace, to be able to try to function alongside humanity's future forward motion in time, to be able to optimize the asset energy that aligns with humanity and the global philanthropy energy grid. But after all, it's trying to synthesize and develop business music in an ongoing fashion by leveraging the ability to be able to send out different frequencies and be able to then bring them back and synthesize music and develop business music at the same time, to develop a philanthropy energy on the backside of that. But ultimately, we want to take different tracks, different full tracks, especially of like trance music, for example, like trance music as the bass, but we want to be able to shift between different genres, for example, but trance music is like the bass, and we want to send different frequencies and different energies that also correspond to full tracks, full length, and completed tracks of trance music into the sewing machine to begin with, as like a sort of a base foundation for future music and the development of future music, as well as business music to follow that, to be able to try to functionally develop a process where we're able to shift along the dynamic as time moves forward, where we're showing different clumps of different genres of music together at different frequencies that in essence correspond to the different time frames in the song that is passing. As different times in the song is lapsing, we're trying to sew together different genres of music by having the little needle encompass a couple of genre tracks at the same time, or letting go and letting just a couple of genres through at the single time or the moment in time that it's passing through the aspect of the sewing machine, where it's developing a connection to the thing that it's sewing at that given time. But we're trying to develop frequencies that are differing compilations of different genres of music at the same time. But we're starting with a trance foundation for different new music in the future. So we start with trance, and then we develop compilations connected to classical music, and then like also different aspects of hip-hop and such things, but also corresponding to certain aspects of punk rock, and then EDM elements that are cyclical and circular, similar to like bass music, and then also like dubstep, for example, as well. So we're trying to touch on various genres, but make it a little bit interesting and sew these things together as every single second of the song is continuing to pass by, that we send different interesting frequencies and genre frequencies of completed tracks together, like interesting, strange, stitched together DJ sounds in essence. But then that corresponds to a greater purpose and a greater interest of developing like a connection to the global philanthropy energy grid and a global entrepreneurship mindset, in essence, where we're trying to connect all humanity to the global philanthropy energy grid, and all animals as well to the global philanthropy energy grid, by connecting and developing mindsets which correspond to the transposition, using and leveraging the ability to have this mindset indicator and illustrator, such as this sewing machine, to be able to flutter and fly around, similar to those little flying pucks, in essence, in that Quidditch game in the Harry Potter wizard movie, in essence, to be able to have this little sewing machine be like that. So in essence, we're trying to sew the world. We're trying to sew up the world, in essence, sew up the sort of aspects of the world that can be improved. In essence, more or less, we're leveraging entrepreneurship to be able to sow the aspects of the world that can tighten up their processes, such as the animal industry, such as not needing to hurt animals and kill animals in the animal shelter industry, to be able to improve the process and develop certain aspects like real estate for different dogs, for example, like where different people are making pledges, but then animals still are dying in today's day and age. But we're able to improve this system with such things as the blockchain, for example, for validity and verification and security, to be able to have connections to these things since they're already part of society. It's not like they're just living in nature, but they're inside of businesses at the current time. And these businesses or business processes, in essence, we have the ability to be able to leverage these business functional processes such as blockchain, for example, to be able to leverage betterment and improvement in artificial intelligence to be able to enhance the process. And artificial intelligence is meant to touch on every business in the world, ultimately, after all, anyway, down the line. So we may as well just try to be able to leverage the animal shelter industry to be able to optimize that and also improve such things as like the real estate industry by developing a process where like the real estate industry is able to accommodate shelter animals and dogs, for example, so they don't have to just die. In essence, there's like cities that could be built around dogs and built for dogs and cats, in essence, and these shelter pets, in essence. There's lands, there's islands, there's different lands and places for the animals to go, especially if there's like population control to begin with and a mindset as humans are trying to move in the direction of longevity in terms of longer lives in general, that hopefully can spread also into the realm of cats and dogs, in essence, so they can live their full potential as well. At the same time, they can leverage longevity, and at the same time, they can leverage little communities where then, in essence, there are such things that are like no-kill shelters, but in essence, they like pay little rents, in essence, as opposed to getting pledges to rescues and such things where, in essence, they have to always be connected to human beings. But in essence, there could be complete cities for cats and dogs where they leverage their own little bits of real estate and they have their own little abilities and systems to be able to go in and out of their cages and their beds and their spaces to be able to then continue to play with each other and optimize, leveraging different systems and systematization to be able to help their systems and their worlds be optimized so that they can live a longer life, and hopefully they can also improve and get longevity as well to be able to live longer lives as well by leveraging what the financial industries aspects of the pet industry currently go to and be able to repurpose those so that they're more impactful in all the ways, and so that all these systems, including better security for humans, occurs around the world by leveraging the blockchain and being able to leverage frequencies that are able to look out for the best interests of people and animals, such as these little worlds where thousands and thousands of dogs and cats can be able to live together, in essence, by having these systems in place so that they can go in and out, and there's minimal rents, because these operations, similar to humans, can have the process of being optimized, and then we can also have population control, so we don't have continuous ongoing births happening that are out of control, but all of these things are monitored because they already are part of society. These animal shelters are part of society, and it's an ongoing process and an ongoing basis that we always consistently have to deal with it. So we may as well have accountability on all fronts as well for humans and humanity to be able to develop safety and safety mechanisms for all humans and all humanity. So every single human being in the world is always safe 100% of the time. So all human beings, just like animals in their little animal societies, have the conceptual accountability through the blockchain, in essence, to be able to have check-ins and correspondence to aspects of technology and artificial intelligence that has the ability to develop safety for all humans in the global philanthropy energy grid, and then at the same time the ability to develop longevity among all of us as characters, in essence, in this global theatrical process. In the meantime, so yeah, and as we continue to try to sew ourselves together through this global little miniature sewing machine that's also expands expansively to the universe, in essence, because it's a global philanthropy energy grid and a spiritual finance little sewing machine that, in essence, is leveraging the ability to be able to stitch together the frequencies of the world to be able to optimize business music in this process, so all human beings get the ability to be able to try to leverage business music by, in essence, connecting the ability to be able to connect their antennas to what is like a range of conceptual potential that they have the ability to carry out on a day-to-day basis, more or less, by developing a range. They develop an understanding of their own frequencies, more or less, in terms of their long-term goals, longevity, long-term, and being able to plan little breadcrumbs to those long-term goals in the short term, more or less, by developing short-term actions similar to this podcast, trying to do just something, some sort of content every day. It's called edutainment, though, because as you're on that path, following those breadcrumbs to those long-term goals, in essence, you're learning on a consistent basis as you're trying to fulfill a business in a long-term sense, trying to fulfill a problem and contribute to problems in the world, which is contributing to the global philanthropy energy grid, contributing to the global philanthropy global philanthropy energy grid by following those little breadcrumbs into the long-term future, in essence, and documenting that process in the short term. Having that little documentation is edutainment, and other people learn from that process because you, like a snowflake, have an individual way of going about the route to be able to try to follow those breadcrumbs, so other people can learn from that by documenting the process of following those breadcrumbs into the long term. And that's the way to be able to develop a range, to be able to always fly within a range of your own interests at all given times, to be able to just fly within the range of this spectrum of a frequency, so you yourself become a frequency that also can fly into this magic sewing machine in spiritual finance that can leverage and develop a global philanthropy energy grid, so all human beings can be able to ping together and have global resonance with global electricity among global philanthropy energy grid, because we're all trying to solve problems, in essence, by developing that short and long-term business, more or less, and that frequency can all continue to pipeline into the direction of this little sewing machine that is able to sew up all of our humanity lives, to be able to improve the processes and improve the problems, to be able to continue to sew our past problems into the future of technology and improve them, continually sewing these frequencies together at different times and letting the different frequencies and the different genres of different business music flow together, so that we're synthetically developing a process for developing philanthropy energy on the backside of that, so that it continues to spin and spawn and fly up into the air into the global philanthropy energy grid, benefiting and continuing to benefit and enhance the productivity and the productivity aspect of philanthropy energy into the global philanthropy energy grid for all human beings to be able to benefit from on an ongoing basis. Yeah, and we continue to enhance our systems as we continue to develop business music. Yeah, business music by sewing our little genres together of fulfillment and collaboration among all of humanity. Thanks again. Bye, Diggy Tech. Bye, peace. Bye. Dink Tech Change for Games. Dink Tech Change for Games Studios. Bye, peace. Bye.